Well, November is National Hospice Month. Each Thursday, SNN Weekend anchor John Hill is going to show you how there is help at hand.
There are many myths surrounding hospice care. As we begin this series, we'll introduce you to Tidewell Hospice, the only licensed hospice provider in Southwest Florida. We start with, what is hospice? Hospice roots go back 1,000 years to the 11th century and a Latin word meaning both guest and host, a place during the Crusades where wounded and dying soldiers were cared for. Today, Tidewell Hospice provides services to people who have a life expectancy of 6 months or less, their families, and caregivers. Tidewell Hospice operates 7 homes just like this one throughout Southwest Florida. They also operate what they call the Hospital House at Lakewood Ranch. Their services go to nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and the patient's home. In fact, 65% of their work is done in the patient's home. There are many misconceptions about hospice care. Tidewell's CEO, Gerard Radford, says a hospice house is not a place to fear.
I've had people arrive at the hospice house dressed as if they were going to a wake, dressed in black, with a veil and all of this. And once they bring them into the house and they see how warm and inviting it is and how home-like and what attentive care, they come out with a 180-degree different perspective of what that house is like. Tidewell
Hospice care is paid for by Medicare and most private insurance companies, and it is being affected by the Affordable Health Care Act.
We've felt it with reimbursement cuts, as every other healthcare provider has, and we've also been affected by sequestration. They just automatically cut 2% of our reimbursement across the board.
Tidewell's annual budget is $78 million. It is a Florida not-for-profit corporation and not a franchise operation.
And a lot of people are confused by that. They think that a hospice is a hospice is a hospice, that we're all one of the same, similar to like the Red Cross, but we're not. We're individual 501c3 nonprofits, and Tidewell is Sarasota's hospice.
Tidewell Hospice employs 750 people and has 1,200 volunteers who provide services to 8,000 patients and their families annually. For the home team, I'm John Hill, SNN Local News.
Now, next Thursday, John's going to continue his series answering more hospice myths and mystery questions.